everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to talk about a trilogy, and not any trilogy. Today we're going to talk about one of the most famous ones and one of the best of all time and one of my personal favorites, like everything that we talk about on this channel. Today I present to you Back to the Future. So now, between what I knew and what I did not know, I invite you in my DeLorean. So if you haven't seen these movies, of course go see them. I've got them right there, I'm going to get them. Back to the Future 1, 2, 3. So before you watch this video, of course go see them. But if you've already seen them, I'm inviting you to listen to these next anecdotes. Let's get into it. Number 1, in the scene where Doc Brown puts his dog Einstein into the time machine, which is the DeLorean, wasn't supposed to be a DeLorean, the DMC car. It was actually supposed to be a refrigerator, but the filmmakers, so Robert Zemeckis, decided that it would be a good idea because the kids who will be watching the movie might want to do the same thing at home. And of course he didn't want to be the cause of a lot of kids being trapped in refrigerators, of course. So they changed for a DeLorean. Now number 2, this is maybe the most famous anecdote about Marty McFly and the adventures of Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox, which is an iconic Marty McFly, wasn't supposed to play that part. Actually it was Eric Stoltz, who even filmed for a few weeks on the set. Even after these few weeks of filming, they decided that Eric Stoltz wasn't fitting for the role. And actually they already proposed to Michael J. Fox to be on the movie, but he declined because he was on a TV show called Family Ties at the time. So he couldn't do his TV show and the movie. But finally, after weeks of Eric Stoltz, they recalled him and asked him to do it anyway. And so he accepted doing the TV show and the movie at the same time. And he didn't know that both would be a huge success, which is a truly inspiring experience. Number 3, there is a part in Back in the Future where they go into 2015. So this means 8 years ago now, but it was the future when the film was made. And some predictions weren't accurate, like flying cars, hoverbirds, where we don't have the same hoverboard than they do. But there are a few that were actually pretty accurate, like video conferencing that we do today, of course, with the Zoom, Skype, but 3D movies as well, which wasn't a thing at the time, and wearable technology. Number 4, Huey Lewis and the group The News, Power of Love, which has become a cult classic in movie soundtracks, and it actually wasn't supposed to be the final gig, but Robert Zemeckis, hearing the song that they made, finally thought it was perfectly fitting for the film. But it's funny to think that he wanted a different song, and that finally he took that one because it was so fitting, and he was right. Now number 5, which is a very cult classic in these movies, is of course a skateboard. Marty McFly's skateboard, and Michael J. Fox did a lot of his own skateboard stunts. I don't know if you know this, but he did the scene, for example, where his skateboard goes over a group of girls. That was really him. But there were a few that he didn't do, like the fact of being attached to a car and riding very far away. That was a stunt double because it would have been pretty dangerous for Michael. Now number 6, we're going to talk about a secret cameo in the movie. I don't know if you know this. It's a little one, but it's always fun to hear cameos about movies. In the scene where Marty McFly tries to call Doc Brown by a payphone, you can see 2 people in the background in hazmat suits. And these are actually the 2 filmmakers, Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, who decided to make a little cameo appearance in their movie. Now number 7, this one I think is a pretty fun one, because I don't know if you remember, but in the movie they talk a lot about Ronald Reagan, the president of the United States at the time. And to have the approval to actually talk about him, they actually called the White House and asked if they could put him in the movie like that. Of course, to make sure that they weren't offensive to the president. I don't know if you know this, but it's pretty a common fact, but Ronald Reagan was a former actor, so of course he understood and he accepted. And he was even contacted for the 3rd Back to the Future to play the mayor of Hill Valley. And it was a tempting offer for him, of course, because he was a huge fan of the saga, but he finally declined, sadly. Even though I think it would have been quite fun to see a president in Back to the Future 3. Now number 8, we're going to talk Pizza Hut, Nike, Pepsi, Black & Decker, Texaco, or even 7-Eleven. Back to the Future is the movie, or the 3 movies that had the most products in their film. There were a lot of product placements. Number 8 and final anecdote, and not least, you're gonna see why, Michael J. Fox nearly died on the set of Back to the Future. Well, you maybe think it's because of the skateboard riding, or you maybe think it's because of going back in time, which can be pretty dangerous. But no, he actually died on the set of the 3rd movie when he was in a village of cowboys, and he found himself with the noose around his neck. So that was planned, of course. But to do a more realistic scene, Robert Zemeckis decided not to put anything under Michael J. Fox's feet, so it would have seemed more realistic realistic. But it was maybe too realistic because Michael J. Fox was really dying. The scene was done a lot of times when he had the rope around his neck. Of course, there was a little gap. Everything was planned so that he didn't, of course, choke. But on the 7th take, there was a little timing error and he was really in a bad situation. And everyone on set was telling to themselves, because he was trying to act like he was really being strangled, everyone was like, wow, he acts so well. Even though, fortunately, there was more fear than harm, they still had to stop the shooting for a day and a half. And the team called a stuntman afterwards to do that stunt. That's it for the movies Back to the Future. I hope you loved this video. I hope you learned a few things. Of course, it was a pleasure to write these, like every one of these videos I make. If you haven't watched these, of course, go watch them. Now you know a few anecdotes, but if you have, of course, I hope you learned a few things. I really love this movie, and it's so touching to see so fun stories adapted in cinema. So I hope you have an amazing day. I'm sure you will. I'm going to rewatch them right now. See you very, very soon. Bye-bye.